Good morning, everybody. Well, your auto How Not to Be Ripped Off by a Car Dealer team is in the studio, ready to go and try to help you folks out there make life a little bit easier for you when you're buying or leasing, maintaining or repairing a car. It's there's a trend in that direction now. I was just showing my son Stu an article in the Automotive News about a chain of dealerships, 8 dealerships, I think, in the Minnesota area, Apple Group. I hadn't heard of them, and they have a new theme. Don't get screwed, and that's how to buy a car without getting screwed by a car dealer. That was in the Automotive News. I just learned about it, so that's exciting to think that maybe what we've been talking about for so many years here in South Florida on the True Oldies channel, and is spread now almost worldwide, but we're pretty much nationwide for sure, leaking over a little bit sometimes into Canada and even Europe. But we're streaming, and you can reach us at youtube.com/Earl on Cars. You can reach us at facebook.com/Earl on Cars. We're we call this a radio show, and we are a radio show. We've been doing that for 20 years when really radio was just about all there was in this venue. Now we stream. So you can see us live and in color right here. You can call us. We started out with just a telephone. We still have that telephone in addition to our streaming and our texting. And even something called a anonymous feedback website that you can go to and talk to us without revealing your identity. But the good old-fashioned phone number is still very important. It's the pulse of the show. It's you get a feel for people and their attitudes and their ideas and their suggestions. That number is 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. If you call, we're going to try to keep our lines open. We have like 5 lines coming into the studio. And Nancy Stewart, my co-host, sitting just to my left here, she watches this laptop, and we're going to see the call when it comes in. Jeremy in the studio will flash the number, the name, the caller, and we stop what we're doing. So we get the calls through pretty quickly. Every now and then we get backed up, but we try to prioritize phone calls. Again, that number, if you don't have something to say or comment or question, criticisms are acceptable as well. In fact, we encourage those. They're kind of fun to deal with. 877-960-9960. Please write the number down if you're not driving and you have something to write with at home or wherever. 877-960-9960. And we'll get you your phone call very quickly. Text number, 772-497-6530. Stu Stewart, right across the table from me here in the studio. He keeps track of those texts when they come in, looks at his iPhone, and when they come in, we get to them, but sometimes we archive a few toward the end of the show, and we get to them. A lot of people just don't. You have something to say, but you don't want to dialogue. You don't want to be on live radio. So just text us at 772-497-6530. 772-497-6530. And for you folks who value your privacy, it's becoming a bigger thing. I'm a public figure. I look at myself as a public figure because I just give out everything on the air. I give my personal cell phone number, name, address, telephone number. I'm just open for everybody to see. They say that's not a good idea, but I've been doing it for 82 years, and it's so far so good, knock on wood. But this anonymous feedback is really cool. It's youranonymousfeedback.com. That's the URL. That's the website. You just go to youranonymous feedback, just the way it sounds. Youranonymousfeedback.com. And you can comment, question, or whatever. There's a link there which I wish they made it more prominent. And for you regular YourAnonymousFeedback.com commentators, listen to this. You have to check a little link that says you want a response. Because if you don't check that, we can't respond. So we get some anonymous feedbacks that are asking questions after the show, and we can't answer anonymously. We can't answer through that link. So oftentimes it's a comment, which is fine. And if we get it while we're on the air, we'll talk about it, and if you're listening, you'll get the answer. But if you just are not sure and you don't want to listen to the radio show for 2 hours, we're on 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday. So YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Check that link if you want a response via the Anonymous Feedback channel, and that's what we'll do. Well, that wraps it up pretty well. I want to introduce Nancy Stewart, and she's sitting to my left. You regular listeners and followers, streamers know her very well. She's a female advocate, and we're so proud of her because she's built the female following of the show up to where it should be, about 50-50. And as you know, whether you're a man or a woman, women have still got some problems today in the world. Fortunately, in America, things are a lot better, but if you're from certain parts of other countries in the world, women are pretty well pushed around and discriminated against. We're trying to reach that full parity with women callers to Earl Stewart on Cars. And Nancy has a very special offer. If you haven't called the show before, she'll tell you about this special offer to call the show. You don't even have to say it. You don't have to ask a question or make a comment. Call the show if you haven't called the show before, because that way we build confidence for all the other ladies that are listening that are maybe a little bit timid about calling. And once you call the show, if you're a first-time caller, she has a special offer, and Nancy's going to tell you about that right now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We do enjoy your company, for sure. Why? You make the show. We love your company. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. As Earl said, your anonymous feedback, wow, take advantage of it. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Give us a call and let us know how you feel about the show. Maybe your latest purchase or a lease, service, anything at all. Call 877-960-9960. And we are going to, talk about insurance rates, car insurance rates, and how they have gone up in Florida. We're going to share some ways that you can save big. It's out of control. 88% higher in Florida. It's amazing. And of course, there's so many other states that have been affected. So you want to stay with us for that information. We have a great mystery shopping report we're going to get to, and written, of course, by Stu Stewart. And it's a great read. And he did another excellent job on writing it up for us. That's Volkswagen in Fort Pierce. They're called Shop of Sunrise, Volkswagen Fort Pierce. And Earl's latest column, his blog, Get It in Writing. You definitely want to read this. It never hurts to get things in writing. We are going to just go to the phones, and we're going to talk to Mel. Good morning, Mel.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having the show.
Welcome.
Yeah, I have a mechanics question. It'd probably be directed to Rick on this one. I have a 2010 RAV4 that I've had since original. It has 170,000 miles. Of course, it's coming up on 14 years old. You have the original struts in the front, and I noticed that when you look kind of look in between where the top of the tire, you can see that the dust cap on both sides are ripped. on both of them, on both of the fronts. They work good. There's nothing wrong with the ride. And I just wanted to find out, what do you think I should do at this point?
Ignore it. The rubber dust cap on there, yeah, it's there to try to keep things clean and help the strut survive longer. But at 14 years, the cost that it would take to remove the strut, disassemble it, and put a new dust cap on there, it would be prohibitive. There's no reason to even worry about it.
Might even create a problem.
Yeah, 14 years, I would simply leave it be. The struts are working great and they're not leaking. I would just go with it.
Right. Now, is that dust cap there, and it's not just cosmetic? I mean, wouldn't it be there because it's going to protect it from any dirt, grime, mud, water to get in there, where it can potentially, ruin those?
Yeah, it's well, you got a center shaft that's going through seals down into the strut, and over time, dirt and grime will eventually get on that shaft, and they'll start to wear it, and the dirt will get on that seal, and they'll start to wear out that seal. But at 14 years old, it would cost you probably, let's see, I'm going to say about $300 to $400 a side just to have those dust caps replaced, and you're still going to have the old struts. What I would do is I would simply wait, and if the strut finally wears out, I mean, you're really, 170,000 miles, you're at about halfway on the life of the vehicle. If those struts really wear out and they do start to leak and get some bounce to them, then I would consider doing it. And you'd be looking at about $600 to $700 per side just to put a whole new strut in there and have it all brand new again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you go with Toyota, I mean, there's plenty of good aftermarkets available.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, we actually we have found these aftermarket assemblies where instead of taking it apart and replacing just the strut, you actually get the entire assembly. It's the spring, the strut mount, all the dust caps, everything's brand new. We simply take out the old unit, replace it as a unit, and it's actually less expensive in the long run than trying to replace those factory struts.
Right. So basically, I mean, after 14 years, it may just kind of go. The reason why I'm asking is because I'm getting a brake job, I'm pads and stuff in the front, and the mechanic said, well, I can do the struts, give you a package deal because, he's in there already. So that's what I was saying, so.
Yeah, but he's going to sell you replacing the strut or replacing those dust seals, and you really don't need it at this point. I would say no. It'd be kind of like saying, hey, do you want to replace your tires? They're at 630 seconds, and 230 seconds is when they're worn out. You want to do it a little early. At 630 seconds, you still got a lot of life left on those tires.
Right. Okay. So the mileage in the years doesn't matter. Those things can probably go for another 50,000.
I have seen struts outlast the car, and I've seen others that die soon. But as long as they aren't broke, I wouldn't fix it.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate it, and you guys have a great morning.
My pleasure. Yeah,
Mel,
save that money for something better.
Congratulations on taking good care. You obviously know how to take care of a car, and you probably have always done your owner's maintenance on that, recommended by the manufacturer.
That's right.
And this is what happens. You heard Rick say, he says, you got another 170,000 miles to go on that car. So it's just, if you buy a good car and you do what the manufacturer recommends in maintenance, no more, but no less. These cars last for a long, long time now, and you obviously knew that, and you take good care. I'm saying that for the benefit of our other listeners.
Right. Yeah. Well, the newer ones, they say you never have to change the transmission fluid, which, I don't know if I agree on that. It doesn't even have a dipstick. So, you know what I mean? So, they say, well, when you're never going to change the transmission, that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
My 2013 Tacoma, 172,000 miles, original transmission fluid.
Yeah, never changed it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Haven't seen a reason to. And I have towed with that truck. I've pulled some pretty good weights with it, and it drives going just back and forth to work 50 to 60 miles a day.
Mel, that's you sound like an old timer like me, and I know how it goes counterintuitive to us, but it's true. The technology today with fluids and sealed cases and the whole quality of the vehicles has made maintenance much less required. But it goes against our. We have customers at our dealership, and we talk to people every day that change your oil every 3,000 or 4,000 miles, and you only have to change it every 10,000 miles or once a year. But people that are used to taking care of their car like they take care of a baby somehow can't adjust. But it's better to take a little bit too good care than not care enough, because that's when it gets expensive. But you're taking real good care of that RAV4, and I just want to compliment you on that.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you, Mel.
Okay.
Give us a call again. There's proof, we're hanging on to our cars much longer than we ever did. Ladies, did you know that 62% of the women out there are part of the purchasing, deal, and all the transactions and everything that comes with it. But 62% of women are purchasing vehicles. That's from Edmunds. Give us a call toll free, 877-960-9960. And ladies, the first two new ladies can win themselves $50 this morning. Take advantage of that. We are going to go to Lance, who is a regular caller from Tennessee. Good morning, Lance.
Well, Earl,
I'm waiting.
I wanted to let you know that we've placed a copy of your book in the local library.
Oh, well, bless your heart. What an honor. I'm very flattered that you would do that.
Now, around here, the road, you're not going to get a lot of traffic on the road to the library.
Is it paved, Lance?
No.
Well, it is paved, but you're just not going to run into a lot of traffic on the road to the library. But that being said, Earl, I couldn't let the morning pass without a little tune for you.
Oh, bless your heart.
And I just want you to know that we all, you have a loyal, dedicated listeners here, and we think the world about every one of you all.
Thank you.
Well, Saturday morning is about to come and go. We're not going to miss Earl Stewart on the radio. If they call him up, they'll treat you nice. It's an awful good way to break the ice.
Oh.
Listen in and learn what you can. Earl Stewart is a real good man.
Wow.
Da-da-da-da-da.
You know, Lance,
Yay.
we're going to go back on our podcast, and I'm going to put together an album. See, and we'll just
The
have
greatest hits.
the Tennessee Lance album, and
But-
maybe
but-
we could
but,
get together and
before-
market that. Hey, all profits go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue. That would be a great. In addition to the book, we could have the album.
Or we could raise funds to fix the road to the library.
That's true. Or do that first,
Earl,
maybe.
before you do that, let me ask you this quickly. I read a kind of a discouraging item about Big Dog Ranch. Have you commented about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I didn't bring it up before, but our local paper, Palm Beach Post, and this is for you folks that haven't heard about this. We're big advocates and supporters of Big Dog Ranch Rescue. They're the largest no-kill shelter in really Florida, might be the whole country. They find homes for hundreds of dogs every month, and we have a dog of the week we promote. But anyways, it's just an amazing organization. Palm Beach Post came out and said that Big Dog Ranch had talked to a puppy mill and insinuated that Big Dog Ranch was affiliated with puppy mills. Now, puppy mills are these places that raise puppies like like you raise corn, treat the dogs like a commodity. Don't take care of them. Some of them die. Some of them get sick. The idea, if you want a dog, and this is Big Dog Ranch's whole mission in life, if you want a dog, find a dog without a home. There's too many dogs out there that need adoption, the way they take care of their dogs. So what Big Dog Ranch had done, it had gone to some of the illegal puppy mills and taken the puppies out of the puppy mills because they'd been closed down. The puppy mills were going to auction these puppies off, and God knows how that would have worked out. Who they would have trusted these puppies to, and how much they would have auctioned them off for. What really would have happened is, again, it's kind of like just a very negative thing. So. Big Dog went in and bought these puppies out of these bankrupted puppy mills, and the only thing they paid, because the puppy mill required it, was for the what the puppy mill had spent on vaccinations and medical care. So it came out to an amount of $50 or $60 a puppy, and Big Dog Ranch took the puppies into their beautiful facility in Loxahatchee Groves, Florida. Huge, beautiful facility, and are taking care of those puppies and making them healthy and finding good homes for them. So the Palm Beach Post interpreted that as some sort of a negative thing that they'd done, and that's the true story. I wrote a letter to the editor of the Palm Beach Post, and I posted on their Facebook, but sometimes if you make too big a thing out of it, particularly when you're fighting a newspaper, it ends up in spreading more negative publicity than had you remain quiet. So I remained relatively quiet, but Lance, I'm glad you brought it up and gave me a chance to tell the story on the air.
Well, listen, good morning again, and take care. Have a good week.
You too,
It's
my
always
friend.
good to talk to you. Stay tuned for the Christmas album.
Okay, that's right. Next month.
There you go.
Thanks, Lance. We enjoy talking to you. You know, speaking of Big Dog Ranch, and it'll be Veterans Day. You know, it's an amazing program that they have out of Big Dog Ranch, and it's a great program for all of the service that the veterans have done, and they introduce the veteran to a trained dog, and it takes them about a year to do that, and they match it with a veteran. So there's a whole lot to read about Big Dog Ranch, and you can go to bigdogranch.org. I believe that's the Big Dog Ranch org. There you go.
BDRR.org.
There you go. Thanks, guys. We are going to go to Jersey Mike. He, too, is a regular caller from West Palm Beach.
Good morning, folks. Nice
Hey.
to hear from you. You got one of the best shows on the whole radio,
Oh, that's
for
right.
sure.
Uh,
I mean, it's so informative. I mean, you helped me out so much, you can't believe it. I'm going to tell you a couple of things. But anyway, let's go to Big Dog Ranch. I went out there, and I adopted a dog. If you're a veteran, which I am, I served in Vietnam, you get, any veteran gets 50% off of anything that they adopt, whatever the fee is. Moreover, when you get that dog, it is fully cared for. Its nails are clipped, it's groomed, it's defleet, whatever it needs medically, it's taken care of. It's brought up to date on all its shots and vaccinations. You get a full printout and record of what you need to do, when you need to do it in the future. It's a really great place. I gave, and also veterans that are out there listening to the show, there's a veteran building in the rear manned by veterans that actually will help veterans out secure the ability to work through, and I actually accomplished this over a period of time, getting the dog to become a service dog. Once you have a service dog, that dog gets a free a chair and an airplane, and he can go anywhere as long as it's not disruptive, and nobody can deny your entry with that dog anywhere. A restaurant, food place, supermarket, wherever it may be, doctor's office, nobody can deny you entry with that dog if it's a service dog. I don't know if people are aware of that, but it's a real big asset to have so that you can travel with your loved one, basically.
That's great. Yeah, no, I see dogs more and more, and I think it's becoming just normal now. I don't think people are, when they see, especially when they see the service dog harness, and it indicates that it is, people, I think it's pretty much well known. But there's something else you brought up, Mike, I just wanted, was when you're talking about everything that they do for the dogs, and we mention week after week, because we sponsor these dogs and we'll pay for the adoption fees. I think it's important to know it's not buying a dog. You're just covering the cost of everything that you listed there, the vaccinations, the grooming, any other heartworms. There's all sorts of things that go on, not to mention all the care that went into just keeping the dog there.
And there's another positive benefit on that, Stu, and is the Big Dog Ranch people say that a lot of these other shelters, and I'm not bad-mouthing any shelter, I do bad-mouth the puppy mills, and they're making them illegal now, but the other shelters, they do a job, and the public shelters, they do a job. The problem is that there is no charge, and I say a problem, too many people adopt a dog on emotion. And, they go out there just to look at the dogs, and how can you not fall in love with a puppy? So they fall in love with the dog, and then 2 weeks later they get tired of the dog, and next thing you know, the dog's out on the street somewhere. So what Big Dog Ranch was, they not only do they investigate the foster parents or the adopting parents to be sure they're the kind of people they would want their dog to be with, but they also have a fee, $250 is what they normally charge. That's the Stu referred to that we pay on the dog of the week, and then they have reduced charges, like you mentioned, Mike, about the service dogs for veterans. But when you have to come out of pocket a few bucks, you're less likely to say, I want that dog and I'm going to take it home, and change your mind. So serious adopters is what we're looking for.
And I would also add that a lot of people don't realize this. I go to pet stores to buy an animal, whether it be a cat or a dog. Those are the puppy mill suppliers.
Yep.
They get their dogs from places that are known as puppy mills. So they're supporting people, which they may not realize are not doing the right thing.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true, Mike. And also, we didn't mention the fact that they're microchipped, and along with the vaccinations. And what a great Big Dog Ranch rescue veterinarian healing center that they have out there. So thanks for mentioning all that this morning.
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate your call.
Can I ask a question? Yes, I can. Can I go to cars and just ask a couple of questions real quick?
Okay.
Yeah.
First off, I know I should not be looking at a Cadillac dealership in South Florida, for that matter, anyone. I want to go up north. Can you recommend up north? And I don't know where I have to go. If I've got to go to Georgia, I so will. In order to get myself from a reasonable dealer, a used car. And I know how to deal with people. I'm a negotiator very well, okay? I've done it all through my life. I'm 77 years old. I just want to know, I'm going to stay away from South Florida because you've talked about that. Could you recommend Northern Florida, some dealerships that you're aware of when you do your dealer report, Earl?
In general, I would say one of the better reputed public companies like AutoNation. AutoNation is the second largest retailer of cars in the United States, and they pretty much cover all the brands.
Okay.
And one of the reasons, not to say you can't have a problem at an AutoNation store, we've mystery shopped AutoNation stores and had problems, but the nice thing about AutoNation is they're structured, they're public, they're a publicly held company, so you can get all the information about that company. You can go to the upper level of supervision. You can take it up the ladder. If you have to talk to the general manager of an AutoNation store, you can. One of my blogs has to do with if you want to go, if you have a problem, take it up the ladder to the highest supervisor you can find, And usually you have that, and because you're a public company, you can't do outrageous things like Napleton.
We've never-
Napleton seems to get away with.
We've never seen anything crazy, like crazy
I
or
got a bad
outlandish.
story about Napleton. I don't want to go into that, but because there's one little last question I have. You're absolutely correct about Napleton.
Yeah.
Last question I have is: you told me at one time I have a '95 Cadillac Coupe sedan DeVille, and I had three guys. They had the car and had to replace the steering column. They charged me $950 to do that. It was done by an ASE mechanic in one of the repair shops here in West Palm Beach. So I'm satisfied with that work. But before they did that, they had three people come in, and they each spent a couple of hours attempting to reprogram, because it's got the chip in the key that Cadillac that year. It's not like the key fobs we have today.
Right.
And they could not succeed at doing that. And you're the guys who advised me to contact, if you got any kind of problem with an old Cadillac, get a hold of the Cadillac Owners Group, and there you shall find the fact that they already been there, done that, and I found out about the VATS system, and I fixed it myself in about half an hour.
Well,
Good job.
congratulations.
All right.
Okay.
Rick
Mike-
looks proud.
I guess what I'm saying there is anybody's got a problem with an old Cadillac, or any Cadillac for that matter, go online, Google or YouTube, Cadillac Owners Group, and you'll get an answer to your problem.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's amazing. Yeah,
Absolutely.
YouTube is wonderful.
Thanks, Bob.
Mike, it was just great talking to you. we
You too,
enjoy
guys.
your
Keep up the good
conversation.
work. Thank you.
Thank you. Give us a call again. Ladies, how do you feel about going in to get your car serviced? Do you think that you're taken seriously? Give us a call. I have $50 for the first two new lady callers, 877-960-9960. And we'll talk about, if you so choose to, who gets the best service. We're going to go to Steve. Excuse me. Give us a call at 877-960-9960. Roadrunner Steve is calling us this morning.
Meep.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Steve.
everybody. Good morning. Three quick things. Did you see the commercial for Fuel Save Pro Company?
Fuel Save
It's a-
Pro. I've heard of that.
Yeah. It's supposed to save 35%. You get 35% more fuel mileage on your car.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen the commercial. Rick's looking confused. Fuel Save Pro.
I see.
No,
There
I
was
haven't
a
seen it.
commercial on TV, and it's only for cars 1995 and up, and you plug it into the OBD2 connector there. Okay.
I'm
and,
looking. I just looked it up.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. It's something
And,
you plug
my
into
question is, what about if you put that in like a newer car, and your car is still under warranty, and it kind of messes it up?
What is? Yeah, okay, I'm looking at it now. It is looks like a little device you plug into the data port down there.
Right.
And supposedly it does all this wonderful stuff. I don't know what it's doing. Rick's got to speak to this.
Okay.
Rick says no. Don't stick it in your car.
The next thing is, what happened to offlease.com? I seen they went bankrupt.
They're now.
They did indeed.
What's the?
Well, that's an amazing question. They're in liquidation. They like a lot of businesses, it happens suddenly. I knew the owner, the original owner, and Mark Fisher is his name. And I tried to reach him the other day on the phone. I can't reach him. He got out. He kept 30% of the company, sold 70% to a financial investment group. And apparently they just, businesses have to be careful. And they overexpanded, got caught in this bubble with the used car prices, wholesale prices crumbling. And it was a difficulty to buy cars. And they just, it was a liquidity problem. You got to have cash, and especially when it's hard to borrow money. And Off-lease only, they were selling a lot of cars, but they were losing money as fast as they sold the cars. So one day they woke up and there was no cash in the bank, and that's the end of the game.
So the company that took over killed that company.
They were private. It was a private investment company.
Right.
It wasn't a stock market type of transaction. It wasn't a public company, and but from what I understand from Mark, he got a lot of money. He and his wife, actually, I'm talking about Mark and his wife, and he together founded this company, Off Lease Only, about 20 years ago.
Yes,
and what a job they did. They were our nemesis as a car dealer, Toyota dealer, our used car department. They were making us look silly, and they were. See, here they go. They've got a little dirt lot in Lake Worth, Florida, and it was they were the Walmart of the car dealers. No frills, no expenses. If you want to buy a car, come and buy a car and get out. And they weren't giving you an espresso bar. They weren't giving you a massage and nice music and fancy advertising. But they bought their cars cheap. They sold them cheap. And they were selling a huge number of cars. So they expanded. Mark Fisher and his wife expanded to 2 lots. They might have gone to 3. And somebody, a group of private investors, said, "Boy, he really knows what he's doing." So they bought him out for a lot of money. And then they realized that when they bought him out, they didn't have Mark to run the store anymore, and his wife. So it takes a lot of hard work and knowledge to make companies work. And when they lost Mark, they lost that.
Yeah,
and
private equity don't make good car dealers.
Hmm?
Private equity doesn't make good car dealers.
What happened to all the cars that they had on their lot?
Oh, they would have been liquidated. They would have gone through the auction. When the court adjudicates the bankruptcy, they require that all the assets be sold at arm's length so that the person going bankrupt can't pocket any money. So all those cars probably went through the various auctions around the area where their lots were located. And we probably have some of their cars in our lot right now. We probably bought some of them. We don't know where they came from, but yeah, that's it's all gone. They vaporized. I'm like you. I was shocked at how quickly they just disappeared.
Yeah, it was like one Saturday it was gone.
Yeah,
They're gone.
yeah. Saturday, they told their employees the Saturday morning, that don't report to work tomorrow. That's pretty cold.
Over 500 employees lost their jobs.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah, terrible.
Hey, Steve, back on the Fuel Save Pro thing. I looked up. There's a lot online that suggests it's a scam. Including their reviews. There's a lot of stuff that suggests they have a lot of, like, they're paying for reviews. A lot of websites that purport to be articles are actually advertisements. And then on Reddit, there's a lot of discussion on it. One guy says he plugged this into his 2019 Ram and completely destroyed the ECU. It's going to cost him $5,000 to $6,000 to replace. And then somebody commented, technically, that vehicle is using less fuel now, though.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I seen on the news, on West Palm Beach News, they said there's 5 million uninsured drivers in Florida.
Yeah.
Wow.
How is that possible to get your license and your registration?
They got insurance, and then their insurance went to $300,000 a year, and then they dropped it.
Yeah, Lance. Here's my take on that. What Florida has is a lot of older people. I'm one of them. And when older people come up for license renewal, it gets pretty touchy. Some people just really they shouldn't be driving, and they kind of know that, so they don't even go in to the driver's license. And the way the bureaucracy is in the government, they don't pick up on this. And if they can actually drive a car and not get a ticket and not get pulled over, they can keep driving. And that's very important to people. So they don't have insurance, they don't have a license, because you can't get insurance without a driver's license. And a lot of these people, this is probably one of Florida's biggest dirty little secrets, is there are thousands and thousands of older people out there that have elected not to have their license renewed because they know they can't pass the eye test, or they can't pass the driving test, or they can't pass the written test, or maybe they can, but they're afraid they won't. So they say, hey, I've been driving for the past 20 years. I've never been pulled over. Very few people get stopped. Very few people get tickets. Most people don't. And so they say, hey, I've been doing fine for the past 10, 15 years. Why should I go in and take an eye test, flunk it, and then they take my license away? And now, if they cite me, I'm in serious trouble. I'll just tell them if they pull me over that, oh, I didn't realize. Rick has a point.
You've also got a lot of people out there that buy insurance by the month.
Yeah, well, let's forget. Let's complete this point first, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So,
don't they get letters motive? Like, I had a lapse in my insurance from New York, a 2-month lapse because I thought it was something else. I got a letter from motor vehicle. Hey, either you stop driving, turn in those plates on the car.
well, yeah, you can get the, but the insurance company's not going to pull you over. I mean, it's the government. I have a concierge, a doctor I go see, and I'm one of many old people that goes in there, and I see him in the waiting room, and as I say, I'm one of them. And I said to my doctor, I said, you got a lot of people here. Are any of them having difficulty with their passing the test to get? He says, off the record, he says, I have a lot of patients that shouldn't be driving, and they don't have a license, but they just don't do it. That's a Florida thing, and that's just my theory. You asked a question about why there's so many uninsured people. That's why one big reason.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and have a good, safe weekend, and enjoy Thanksgiving. Talk to you
thank
soon.
you, Steve.
Bleep, bleep.
We hope we hear from you. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Ladies, give me a call. 877-960-9960. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. We'd love to talk to you. Roadrunner, he's talking about, what it costs for everything as far as a license, insurance. I'm going to say first that Earl and I love going into the waiting room when we go into the doctors because he refers to himself as an old man. We look so much younger than everybody else. But let me tell you, I mentioned earlier that your insurance rates and the fact that 88% hike in Florida, 50% New York, Colorado, and I forget what the other state is. But did you know that by increasing your deductible, it really makes a whole lot of sense. Increasing your deductible from $500 to $1,000 can bring your annual premium down by 20 to 25%.
That's great.
Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. And also, as far as your collision and comprehensive insurance is concerned, there you go again. As a general rule, when the premium is more than 10% of the car's value, it's time to consider dropping the collision and maybe, the comprehensive. Your thoughts, 877-960-9960. We're going to go to Marty in West Palm Beach. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're doing well, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Last week, I've got this question for Rick. Last week, I told you sometime when I turn the left turn signal on, the wipers go on.
Yeah.
Well, this week, I got a note that came on the screen in the car, and it said reverse motor wiper, and it said a malfunction in the wiper system has been detected. Contact your Toyota dealer in order to have your vehicle inspected. My question is, if I bring it in and show that note to the service writer, are they going to tell me we still got to hunt around for it, or does that mean I just need a new wiper motor?
I think at that point, as a technician, if I saw that note, I would spend a few minutes looking in the repair manual, just to make sure that there's not something else that could cause that. But I'd be going right after that motor.
Okay, and how much does usually a wiper motor cost?
It's going to depend on the vehicle, but it could be anywhere from $300 to $700 for the part. And
in
then you're
other
looking
words,
at probably, I'm going to say $200 to $250 for labor.
Now, Mark, let me just jump in here quickly. One of the things that I was going to talk about on the show, if we had time today, was the fact that AutoNation has opened up an online parts, 20 OEM parts, original equipment manufacturer parts for over 20 manufacturers. If you have an expensive part, wiper motor or whatever you consider expensive that you're faced with, to keep the dealer, and in your case, keep us honest, to keep the prices competitive. And you can also go to rockauto.com. They sell OEM parts too. Amazon sells OEM parts. So don't be taken advantage of by any dealer on the part. It should be competitive with the market. And if you go back 10 years, the only place you could buy an OEM part was from a dealer. Now we have AutoNation, we have Rock Auto, we have Amazon. Check the part that you need if it's an expensive part that you're concerned about, and then when you go to the dealership, in our case, you go to our dealership, you say, listen, I can get this on Amazon for X dollars. You want to charge me $200 more? That's not fair, and you're right. And that dealer should either meet the price or beat the price, or you should go somewhere, or you should buy the part and bring it in and let him install it. And if it's an OEM part, there's no reason why they shouldn't agree to that.
Okay, now what I have found when the wiper starts going by itself, I turn the turning signal to the right and it shuts off. So I guess I have a way to, not really bother with it, and it doesn't stay on all the time. It maybe makes two wipes and then it stops on its own. But it's just an annoying thing. But I hate to pay $700 or $800, excuse me, to fix it. That's all I'm bringing out.
Yeah. Right.
And the other thing is with old people and insurance, this is the same thing that's going on with, you're talking about car insurance. This is the same thing that's going on with homeowners insurance. Mm-hmm. People are just not taking it out and taking a chance.
Yeah.
And if the house blows down, it blows down. And, they said the homeowners insurance is out of whack. And the governor has not done anything in this state to do this, to fix these insurance crises.
Yeah.
So
get some control over it.
Yeah, I know when I used to have an address in New York State, I used that address in New York State car insurance. Meanwhile, the insurance company wrote me a letter, said, we know you're living in Florida, and we're dropping you. And it just so happens at that time I didn't need New York State for my health insurance. So obviously I took out Florida insurance, but the car insurance here is crazy. It's just,
how long did you were you able to take advantage, of that New York?
I did it for about 5 years.
Oh, did you?
Until they figured it out.
You're asking Mark to confess on the air so they can go after
That's
him.
interesting.
This is interstate crime.
But that was my sister-in-law's house, as an address. So I didn't have a fake address. It was just personally just not living there.
Right.
And but the insurance company, it was ridiculous. In here, you're paying so much more for uninsured drivers and everything else. Now, what I'm going to do on my next renewal here, I'm going to do what Nancy said and see how much difference it is. Like I've got $200 deductible.
You raise it.
I'm just, change the deductibles, and that's it.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Hope you get 25% off.
Yeah, I think that's a little too much. But hey, if it works out that way, then hey, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Nancy's advice, and then if it doesn't work, I'm going to let her know.
Just drive real carefully.
That'd be great. We'd love to hear from you. You know, there's so many ways to save on your auto insurance and your house insurance. You can bundle that, and, you know, you can save yourself $300 a year. Another way to save on your insurance would be to take a defensive driving course, and you can save, I believe it's $200 a year. So there's
a lot of the big insurance companies don't do the houses here anymore.
Yeah, they're pulling out.
So who you get as an insurer, if you read a lot of their reviews, people say, well, they're wonderful as long as you don't have a claim.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I forgot this, Marty. Are you getting married? Recently, going to plan a marriage?
Well, I've only been married for 52 years, so
okay.
So
So you're not contemplating a divorce then?
No, not yet.
There's ways I can tell you to
Nancy,
save.
what if they renew their vows? Do they get a discount?
Yeah,
That's
do
a
I
good
get
question.
a newlywed discount if we do it again?
Yeah, just do it all over again.
I'm just trying to
right.
cover all the life events here. Okay, Marty, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right.
Good
well,
luck
have a
with
good
your
weekend.
journey
Thanks,
on
Marty.
the insurance.
Yeah.
Talk to you
no
later.
problem.
Have a great day. We're going to go to Mike in Ventura. Thank you so much, Mike. It's great to hear from you again. I hope you're still there. Hi, Mike.
Hi, how are you?
Good. It's good to
Okay.
hear from you again.
Thank you. Good morning. There is a law that not many police people know, but it's on the books. A few weeks ago, they celebrated White Cane Safety Day. And White Cane Safety Day is a law where if you're crossing the street with a white cane or a guide dog, the cars have to stop. And I've contacted the Aventura Police Department, and I told them about that. They knew about it, but the police are not following up on the law.
I just looked this up too. It was signed. It's a sign in the law from Lyndon Johnson back in the '60s.
Right. And also, did you know that a lot of the guide dog schools and a lot of professionals that work with the blind are against the electric cars because they hardly make any noise, and nobody says anything about it.
I think that there is a new federal Is it federal, Rick? We've talked about it a lot in the show. I don't know if they all have it now, but there's a requirement to have these electric vehicles when the motors aren't running to emit a sound.
Some of the older ones would still be guilty.
Well, I don't know if they have to be retrofitted or if it's just new sales. But fortunately, the new sales going forward, they all have to make a noise so they can alert people because they're silent. You're absolutely right.
I used to listen to you guys on 1470, but I understand they went Spanish. But I have another question. I was wondering, since we turn the clocks back tomorrow, the cars that have clocks, do they go back automatically or what?
Well, it's interesting. Sorry, Rick was about to speak. No, a lot of them don't.
Isn't that stupid?
Well, here's the thing. There's multiple clocks often in your car now. You have it on your infotainment screen, but then there's the built into the car. And still, I think my 2023 has a minute and hour button. Everything else does it automatically, but I think I have to change my car. Rick, were you going to say the same thing, or am I wrong?
I'm going to say it's about a 60-40 split. 60% of them now have it in the infotainment center, and it uses GPS signaling, and it will automatically correct itself. But there are certain few, and the older ones like my truck, my clock, I'll have to reset it.
Yeah, you have to go through the whole thing because it only goes forward.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, thanks a lot, and I enjoy your program.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for
Appreciate it very
listening,
much.
Mike. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Back to insurance, this might affect Stu. Did you know that if you add your teen driver onto your insurance,
I know this.
it's going to cost you $1,000 to $2,000 more a year? I had 3
I
teenagers.
got 3 teenagers.
Now, let me say it. Hopefully, Mike
Yikes.
is,
And they're
hopefully Mike
more,
is still listening here because, well, before he doesn't listen, there's something interesting to a lot of people that didn't know Mike. Mike is sight impaired. He lives down in Miami.
yes.
And he was one of the earlier callers to the show years and years ago. And we decided what we would do. And we were pushing for autonomous cars because how important would that be to a sight impaired person? And everybody was positive and extremely enthusiastic about this. And there were a few cars that were on the road that were autonomous, and we overestimated how fast that was going to happen. So we were going to have a car go to Mike's address in Miami and pick him up, and drive him to the studio, and then we would have him come up to the studio, and that would be kind of a cool thing to celebrate. And we tried and tried and tried, and of course what's happened is through personal experience now, Nancy and I with our Tesla said ain't gonna happen.com.
Not safe yet.
And Stu gave me a supplement to the bumper sticker we have on our Tesla. Tesla says, we say total self-driving Tesla car, and below that is another bumper sticker said, we wouldn't have bought this if we'd known Elon Musk was crazy. And but it's not quite that bad, but it's funny, so we keep the bumper sticker on.
We bought it before
Mike,
we knew
if
he
you're
was
still
crazy.
listening, I'm really sorry. I thought we might be able to do that, and let's be positive about that. Still might happen, and there's some quantum leaps being made in autonomous driving. A lot of negative publicity. We'll be the first to admit the Tesla is not ready right now for prime time, but I'll bet you. Sooner than we expect now. It was a lot longer than we expected, and now it'll be sooner. We'll be able to maybe have a car pick you up and come up to the studio.
Absolutely.
I hope you're still listening.
Yeah, you're always in our thoughts, Mike. We definitely didn't forget about you. Back to teen driving, ladies. The first 2 new female callers, you get yourself $50 this morning. Do you have teenagers in the house? Did you? I'm sure that you know that your insurance rates are staggering, and that adding your teenagers to your car insurance policy, it goes up by $1,000 to $2,000 per year. Give me a call. We can chat about that too. 877-960-9960. We are going to go to John, who has been patiently holding from Palm City. Good morning, John.
Good morning to everyone. I want to talk about engine oil because Napleton's name came up today, and in the past, Napleton was accused of cheap engine oil, cheap oil changes, aftermarket filters. I want to ask Rick a question. My car uses, how do you find out? You go into the owner's manual. It's very critical that you have the correct weight and the correct type of oil. My type car on the oil cap itself says SL SAE 5W30. Now, I know SAE is a Society of Automobile Engineers. What does the SL mean?
That's the quality designation for the oil.
Okay. What I want to say why it's so critical,
Super lube.
and also it's not a bad idea that you not only you know a hand, but whoever does the oil change, that they specifically write down the type of oil that they used in your engine. And also, it's very critical that an oil change place, a new car dealer does it correct. Not all cars take like the old-fashioned 5 quarts plus 1 quart for the oil. Some of them take an odd amount of oil, so you want to make sure that it's filled right exactly to the capacity it should, and you can see that on a dipstick. So I just want to bring that up.
We
That's
actually
so
have charts that every single technician in our shop has, and the parts department has, that shows the year and model and engine, and tells exactly how much oil that car is supposed to get, obviously with the filter, because we always change the filter, and it shows the exact amount, and it can be anywhere from 3.9 to 4.4, 7.1, 7.9. I mean, it's all very odd amounts, and those are put into the digital oil pumper gun to pump exactly that amount of oil.
What happens if you have too much oil?
You actually wind up with what's known as cavitation, where it will start to boil foam up the oil, and it will also cause that oil to be sucked up into the old PCV system and burned in the engine, and you get tons of smoke. What happens is occasionally, we see this from just about any shop, they go in for an oil change, and the guy that's supposed to drain the oil forgets to. So they pump oil in, and now you have a double amount of oil in the car. And boy, they will smoke like crazy.
And possibly damage the engine.
It could possibly damage it, but usually they start smoking so much that the person gets in and gets it checked out very quickly, and it saves it. But that's one of those mistakes that it's like, oh boy, it's scary, but it's at least less likely to cause damage to the engine as running with no oil. No oil can damage your engine in about 4 to 5 seconds.
Instantly.
It can cause expensive damage to the engine.
Irreversible.
Today's oils, though, are fantastic, and that's why the engines last as long as they do. The quality of the oil and the multi-weight is very important. Earl and I are from the school where you use 20, 30, 40, even 50 straight oil in the old days, and if it burnt a lot of oil, you went as high as 50. But today it's a multi-viscosity, so it comes from 5 all the way up to like 40, so it's better for the life of the engine. One fast thing, too, I want to mention. The best thing that ever happened to America was when the lead was taken out of gasoline in 1975. All cars then had catalytic converters, and there was such danger in the lead. It was unbelievable, and it went beyond polluting the air. I mean, I was told at the time, Rick as a mechanic would say, the fastest way when your hands are greasy and dirty from working on a car is just to wipe them and clean them up with gasoline. Well, in those days, I was told never do that, because when it was lead in the gasoline, it seeped into your skin, and there was a lot of cancer of the blood, basically, caused by the lead that was in the gasoline, but we people weren't aware of that.
Auto mechanics get exposed to so much. But, John, you say 5W40 oil?
5W30 I have in mind.
Guess what the newest one out is?
Probably 0.40 or whatever. I don't know. It's an old designation, right?
0W8.
Wow. Boy.
We've been running 0W16 for several years now, but now the newest one coming out in the last year is 0W8. It's about the thickness of olive oil.
Well, that shows the importance of using the proper oil. Very important when anybody gets an oil change. And it looks like the best place, again, as Rick pointed out, is the dealer, because they have the charts and they know exactly what the car and the year is, and they know exactly the amount to put back in the car.
Not to mention
very,
that
very important, very critical.
All of your maintenances are kept in computer records. If you go to a dealership throughout the nation, it's kept in electronic records, easily accessible by any other dealership for that make and model. And a dealer is going to stand behind their work a lot quicker, too, because they've got a lot more to lose.
Well, thanks for the information.
Hey, John, did you just you said lead? You were talking about lead in gasoline a couple minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yes.
Here.
Before 1975, all gasoline had lead added to it.
Here's an interesting article that Nancy, I just got it from Nancy from the Wall Street Journal, today's Wall Street Journal, and because we get so many questions about what sort of fuel should we use, do I need I-test or regular, blah, 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 and this, of course, stems back to the original putting lead in the gas to raise the octane. Mazda has come out with a new model. It's the Mazda 3 hatchback Turbo Premium Plus, and you can put any kind of fuel sold for cars in that in this particular Mazda. You don't have to worry, and it meets the California standards. So by having that, especially if you live in California, by having that particular model car that is designed to be able to accept any kind of fuel sold, you're saving a ton of money. In California, you're saving $450 a year at 15 if you drive 15,000 miles a year and 26 miles per gallon. You save $450. So that's a really cool breakthrough for a combustion engine. Now, we talk about electric vehicles and hybrids, but even the combustion engine cars now are making some breakthroughs, being able to use just basic cheap gas on any pump you pull up to. You'll have a car that will get good mileage and good performance and pass all the rules on emissions at the cheapest gas you can buy.
All right, that's good information. But lead was very dangerous, not only to the air,
Leave anybody on the phone?
but it was also very dangerous on the.
All right, I can get to a text from Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie says, good morning. A New York...
John's still talking, I think.
John,
Is he?
thanks so much for calling us. We enjoy your company. Stay tuned for our mystery
just
shop
heard
of
silence.
Sunrise with Volkswagen Fort Pierce. We have about 3 more calls to get to, and then Stu's going to go to all of the texting, and Rick is going to cover the YouTubes. Sorry for the Facebook situation. It remains the same as it was last week. We're going to go to John in West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for your patience.
Oh, you're welcome. I have a curiosity question. Saw a Toyota Crown for the first time yesterday, and my first thought was that it was electric, but Toyota doesn't make electric. These are all hybrids. I didn't see any exhaust. Where's the exhaust on the Crowns?
They're there.
It's there. It's just hidden up under a little bit, but it's there.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It was it's nice design. Then I'm going to say it's a very clean design then, because there's no exhaust pipes coming out the rear. It seemed like.
Yeah, there.
Oh,
it's a beautiful car.
The trick to spotting an EV is the grill. If there's no air intake in the grill, then it's not a gas engine.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you drive a
You gotta
Crown?
have the radiator. Pardon me?
Did you drive one?
No. We were just going through the neighborhood and I saw one. No, it's gas. I don't drive gas engines anymore.
Ah.
I got my Tesla.
Well, it is a hybrid, but I tell you that Crown is a very nice vehicle.
Yes. If I buy a Crown, I'm getting like a 97, 98 from Japan. That's going to be right-hand drive, just like the Excelsior.
Okay.
Now you know who I am.
Okay. Yep.
And my son. So, anyways, and then my one last thing that I wanted to throw in there on insurance and teenagers.
Yes.
We had 2 teenagers. Our insurance didn't go up because they were on their learner's permit. After they're off the learner's permit, that's when you get hit with the extra fees. So as long as they're on the learner's permit, your insurance does go up because they have to drive with an adult.
Right, that's
Once
true.
that learner's permit's gone, then it goes up.
That's true.
That's great
And
information.
the reasoning is that, the teenagers are in more accidents, and that's the reason. But
So you can keep-
the
you can-
insurance
is that
companies
a
are going to have
loophole?
any reason to raise the insurance rates.
When you're before you get your full license, you get the learner's permit for a year, and then you have to drive with a 18-year-old driver or older, or your parents usually. And during that case, it's not going to affect your insurance. Once you add them, you can't add them as a driver until they're 16, and you add them as a driver.
Well, if they're 16, because you keep them on the learner's permit.
Oh
They're
yeah.
16, 17.
It's not the age; it has to do with the license part. So you can like.
How long can
some
you
kids
keep them
wait.
on?
Oh no, you can only be on it for a year.
Oh, 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question.
Okay, John.
So that's all right. Great. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. 877-960-9960. Ladies, you still have time to give me a call. 877-960-9960. And you can win yourself $50 this morning, the first 2 new lady callers. We are going to go to Brad, who has been patiently holding from Deerfield Beach. Good morning, Brad.
Hi, good morning. I was listening along, and actually I called in to make a comment on the insurance, but my buddy has a 17-year-old son, and just like the previous caller said, I said, did he get his license yet? He said, no, he's still on his permit. And I'm like, well, geez, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait I took driver's ed so I could get it 6 months earlier at 15 and a half. He says, I'm happy he's not in a big hurry because as soon as he gets his license, my insurance mandates that he goes on my insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. He's going to have to pony up the big money as soon as he gets his license.
It never worked for the kid, but if you were just, it'd be cheaper to let the kid take Uber than to pay the extra insurance premium.
Yeah, I should have decided to give my girls a horse and buggy, all three of them. It would have been a whole lot cheaper for me.
Some sort of emancipated minor thing because the insurance is going to kill you. But, yeah, I never had kids, so that's not my worry. When you're talking about the oil viscosity, when you hear multi-weights, it was my understanding, like say you hear 5W20 or whatever, the 5 only comes into play when the temperature goes below 0. So in Florida, we don't have freezing temperatures, so it's not an issue. My Lexus uses OW20. Man, that's like water. And by the way, I'm not... I'm going to mention it because you have your tech there, and he's going to tell me I'm not doing the right thing. But I don't put much mileage on my cars. I'm retired. And, they tell you, all right, 8,000 miles or annually, whatever comes first. But I'm only putting like 1,000, 2,000 miles on my car, and that OW20 synthetic is like $6 a quart. So I keep it in the garage. We don't have big temperature fluctuations. You think that that's a very bad thing for me to extend it out to 2-3 years? I mean, I'm going to do it 3,000-4,000 miles, but it takes me 3 years to get there. You think that's pretty bad? What do you think?
We see a lot of that in South Florida. Retired folks that just don't drive very much. The biggest issues that you're going to run into is like the seals on the engine are going to start to dry out because they're not getting lubricated. They're not getting exercised. Your battery, of course, is going to be the biggest situation. By not getting it cycling, it's going to wear out and die a lot quicker. Rust is going to start to set in a little bit. And, of course, just that natural Florida humid air is going to get into everywhere. And so you're never going to get a chance for that engine to get up to operating temperature and boil all that moisture out of the engine. My best advice on a case like that is, like once every couple weeks, you get the car out and exercise it a little bit. Get on the highway and just give it a good 45 minutes to an hour drive to give it a chance to exercise, and you'll see a better lifespan out of the car for it.
Yeah, no, I do regularly run the car but my I used to commute down to Fort Lauderdale, nightmare, and it was 30 miles each way. But now I'm going a mile to the grocery store and a mile back once a week. I keep battery tenders on my batters. But my concern was more like, like you said, the moisture in the engine block. I'm worried because I don't change my oil annually. They say annually or 8,000 miles, whatever comes first.
Right.
And I'm only putting 1,000 miles on in 1-2 mile trips. But I'm wondering, all right.
Yeah, the oil change actually isn't the biggest concern there. You're going to see other things start to wear out before you'll ever have an issue with the engine because of that.
Okay, yeah, no, I run it regularly, but I have 2 cars. I have an 03 Mazda. And on that subject, I had texted in last week.
One more.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had texted in last week about the Highway Safety Motor Vehicle Department has a program called self-insurance. Mm-hmm. As long as you can show that you have $40,000 of assets over your debt, they allow you to become what they call self-insured, and you get a certificate in the thing. And what's good about that is I heard a couple of weeks ago you had a caller, and he said, my wife and I only come down, we're snowbirds, and is it worth keeping a car? And there's a lot of articles that will explain, like, well, if you're only doing this many miles, then and you're really better off just Ubering. But let's say you want to have a car down here, and you're down here only 2-3 months, and you want a car, and you leave it in your condo parking lot, and you're gone for 10 months. It enables you. What it enables you to do is you get the certificate of self-insurance. You still can turn on insurance when you get down here. You can say, I want to insure the car.
Sure.
For the 2 months we're down here.
Yep.
The difference is that if you don't do that self-insurance thing, once you can't drop your insurance, you have to turn your tags in or they'll suspend your license. So what it enables you to do is turn the insurance on and off without having to flag you and say you're uninsured because you're self-insured. So it's a good alternative for people that, only come down a couple months, that you don't have to turn your tags in or insure your car for the year while it sits in a parking garage, something like that. Or
As
also
long as
like
you're not
people
leasing, that works.
Yep.
No, if you own the car outright
You can do
and
this, yeah.
you don't do a lot of driving, it might fit your lifestyle instead of paying, whatever they're, $3,000-4,000 a year.
Yeah, I bet you're saving a lot of money.
I've been self-insured for 10 years.
Wow.
It saves me a lot of money on two cars and 2 motorcycles. But I don't drive them much. Each one of them has super low mileage. I mostly ride a bicycle everywhere, and then I use a car to occasionally go get groceries.
Yeah.
But just throwing it out there, it might fit somebody's lifestyle, but it enables you not to have to turn your tags in if you want to shut off the insurance and go back to Canada. You know what I mean?
Right. It's very smart.
Very smart. You're a sharp guy, Brad. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for putting that information out here for our listeners.
I got one more question. It's tongue-in-cheek. It's a little joke.
Sure.
But, because I love the show, and I keep trying to get my girlfriend to call in, and she's so shy. She listens, but she won't call in. So,
Hi, girlfriend.
You know what? Her name is Susie.
Hi, Susie.
She's a nurse in Boca. And I say, then again, what is a woman? Wait a minute. I feel like a woman today. Do I qualify for the $50? Because even our Supreme Court justices can't explain what a woman is.
If you're calling on behalf of your girlfriend, we'll discuss it.
We'll send you $5, Brad.
$5.
Okay.
Sounds to me like you don't need $5.
No, I don't need
it. This may be too personal, but does your girlfriend spend the weekend with you? Is she there?
Once in a while.
Is she there?
No, she's not here. No, she's not here.
Well, she should call.
She has her own house.
She should call us. I'd love to hear from her. What's
I'm
her
going
name?
to donate $5 to Big Dog in your name.
All right.
What's her name, Brad?
Hey, we are both. Her name is Susie. We're both big dog lovers. I've rescued the last 3 dogs I've had, and she had a Rottie that just died, and she stole my Labrador, and I got a Golden. So
okay,
we are big dog lovers.
You guys are right with us.
Thanks so much for that very important information, and give some important information to your girlfriend.
Good tips.
Tell her to give us a
I
call.
will.
Have a wonderful
we'll get
weekend.
We'll get her to call you that, or we'll set her up where you call her and catch her off guard.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you. I lost John, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go. John, give us a call back. We may have time to talk to 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We have the mystery shopping report coming up, and the mystery shop is from Sunrise. Yes, Sunrise, Volkswagen, Fort Pierce. And you'll be able to vote on that mystery shop at 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Stu, and then we're going to go to Rick.
Okay. All right. So Anne-Marie's first text. I'm sorry I did that earlier. My headphones were turned down. I thought nobody was talking. So I'm like, all right, I'll start reading the text. So sorry about that.
That's all right.
Rick's laughing at me. All right.
Blame it on him.
Anne-Marie's text. Let's get back to business. Good morning. A New Orleans district attorney and his 78-year-old mother were carjacked at gunpoint recently. Fortunately, they're okay. The vehicle was later found abandoned. It was recovered because he managed to keep the key fob with him. At least one suspect has been arrested. That prompts the following questions. Years ago, people could buy a LoJack system in case their car was stolen. One, what has replaced it now? Apple AirTags? I'll go along line item. Well, actually, yeah, you can use Apple AirTags for that. They're not perfect. It has to be around people with iPhones, but and LoJack is still available, but we usually make fun of it here because it's usually part of a finance department package that's foisted upon you on an addendum or something like that. But it is a legitimate product. If you're interested in LoJack, I would recommend going online and looking up LoJack and buying it directly.
It's so expensive compared to...
I don't know. I looked up, and there are other GPS trackers. I think LoJack has changed over the years. It used to be some kind of radio thing.
Okay.
Now it's more modern. But there's other ones that are very cheap. For matter of fact, one of the ones that were that was like highlighted in line more than anything was something called Bouncy. It's about $20 to buy the unit, and it's $8 a month subscription. They all have subscriptions, but there's no setup fee.
Amazon.
Amazon, buy a Bouncy on Amazon. Just
the thing about LoJack that you remember, we wanted to find out if a car had LoJack on it.
Yeah, we couldn't. Never mind. I rescind my. Yeah, right. They wouldn't tell us whether that the car had LoJack. It was impossible to find out. It was.
Well, the joke was dealers selling LoJack and charging a whole lot of money for it when you could get a more economic, like Bounty, Stu suggested, on Amazon for much less money.
Yeah, Bouncy.
So this dealer was selling LoJack, and I said, just kind of being funny, supposing they don't have LoJack, and they just tell them they have LoJack, because they hide LoJack so you don't know where it is
no
on
one
the
can
car.
find it.
That's part of the selling point. So everybody comes in, you got LoJack, you owe me $800. And so we tried to find out if they had LoJack. We call LoJack, and LoJack won't tell anybody, including the owner of the car.
Right. There's no way to know if it's true.
So if you want to take LoJack off your car, you can't, because you'll never know where it is.
Yeah, Rick, where is it?
I'm not gonna tell.
Oh, you know where it is.
Hey,
I know where they installed about 98% of them.
Oh, okay, but how did you find out?
Trial and error.
He was a car thief.
It actually happened several times with flood cars. That as we're disassembling the interior of flood cars, that we would find the little LoJack box, and it turns out that they pretty much have almost a standardized place that they will hide them.
Well, don't tell
on
them.
just about every car.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm not telling. I'm not telling.
You're devaluing the LoJack.
Well,
It
maybe
does
you should
have
tell
to
them.
actually
Okay, guys.
wire into the car.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go back to the phone real quick.
Okay, we'll get back to the other questions. In a minute.
And thanks, Anne Marie, for the.
We got more from Anne Marie.
Great text. We're going to go to Shelley. Shelley's a first-time caller, and here she is. She's calling from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Shelley.
Good morning.
Welcome. You just won yourself $50 this morning. If when we're finished with our conversation, you stay on the line, you can talk to a very important person, and that is Jeremy in the control room. Give him your contact information, and he'll pass it along to me, and I'll get that check out to you.
Fantastic.
You're welcome. What can we do for you this morning, Shelley?
I have a 2005 Lexus, and the timing belt has never been changed. At what point should I get that done? It's now about 190,000 miles.
What year Lexus is it?
2005.
Yeah, if it's got a timing belt, I would definitely get that done.
And the water pump.
Because, the water pump and the seals, simply for the fact that if that belt breaks, 2005 would have been one of the V6 motors that has what's called zero clearance. So if it breaks, the pistons can hit the valves and cause damage to the engine.
What should that cost her?
The whole job of replacing the timing belt as a package, around $1,100 to $1,200 right now.
Wow.
If it damages the engine, $11,000 to $12,000.
Yeah, but it's a 2005 car, so yeah, that's yeah.
On an 05 Lexus, I'd put $1,100 in one right now.
How many miles do you drive, Shelley?
Very little. I do not drive for work. It kind of sits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need the car. You drive to work. Then my heart bleeds for the fact that you have to pay $1,100. But Rick's right. You don't want to be caught on 95, and that could happen. The engine could blow. And
okay.
You would have no warning of it. It would simply occur. Just kaboom.
Yikes. That's scary.
Okay.
One other question, and about this. The timing belt, I understand. Why do you have to do the water pump? I know that if you have to do the water pump, you have to go back in all the labor to take it out again. You're there where you can do it, but if she only want to do the timing belt and not the water pump, how much would that cost?
It would probably cut the price by about 30 to 40%. However, once they get in and inspect it, if there's signs that the water pump has been leaking,
Yeah.
then it'd be definitely a good idea to do it.
But it's worth taking a chance for.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
worst case chance, the water pump is leaking. There'd be some evidence of it before it was catastrophic.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
They'll start. We've seen water pumps. They'll start to leak from what's called the weep hole, and it'll leave a pink crust from the coolant. And once you see that, you know, okay, it needs to be done.
So you can save
But
about
it's
about
behind the cover.
$500 by forgetting about the water pump, and that's what I do in your shoes. I'd save the $500, do the timing belt, and they'll give you a big argument, and it's a valid argument because maybe Rick and I disagree about this, but. I'd take a chance on the water pump, but I would definitely get the timing belt. And I'd save $500.
And if they do say, "Hey, we got in there and the water pump is leaking," pull out your Missouri attitude. Say, "Show me."
Yeah.
And they should take you right back there and be able to say, "Here is the dry crust trail of the residue from the coolant leaking," and they should be able to show you proof that it's been leaking.
Yeah, and they will tell you it's leaking. So you want to.
Odds are, yep.
It might not be, but they really want to give you that new water pump bad. So that's a great suggestion by Rick. Say you say it, tell them up front. Say I want to replace the timing belt. I know you want me to do the water pump, and I understand why, but I don't want to do the water pump. If you do want me to do the water pump, you're going to have to take me back and show me where it's leaking. And that maybe that primes them so they're not even going to try. If they do take you back and it's leaking, of course you have it done.
Okay.
And Shelley, just as a sidebar, let me ask you this. You've had the car since 2005. Do you find that you drive, a whole lot less than you did?
Yes, because I changed my job. I used to drive a lot for my job, but now I hardly ever drive for my job.
Okay, so you're driving probably under 10,000 miles.
Oh, most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, you can really take advantage of that change in your life with your automobile insurance. It's quite a savings, you know, if you look into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with, I don't know if I'm allowed to call the name of my insurance company, but I've checked around and I'm getting a good rate.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Most importantly, back to your Lexus and the fact that you need to, go into, service. Be real careful. Be real careful when you go in. They really try to sell you an awful lot, and it's crazy.
Yes.
Have yourself a great week and stay on the line. Get yourself that $50.
Thanks for the great program.
Oh, thank you. Spread the word.
Yes, I will.
You're helping to build the platform here for ladies.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go back to Stu.
Oh, yeah.
We're at 9:32 right now, so we're going to rush through this so we can get Stu, Rick in.
Yeah, so we're going back to Anne Marie's question. She was talking about theft deterrents, or actually theft recovery systems. Talked about LoJack a little bit. LoJack. She wanted to know. She heard that Teslas are the least stolen vehicles. Want to know what system does it work? And it's called is it Sentinel mode or something like that?
Yeah, it's automatic built in. I can look at my Tesla app now. It gives the address of the studio where we are, so I know where my...
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to add, a lot of vehicles that are connected now have GPS, and they're connected with is it 5G now? They're up from the 4G, 5G technology, and they connect it with the dealers. For example, like on similar to what you have, I have an app. Tells me where the car is. That's for the newer vehicles. Obviously, the old vehicles don't have that built in, but brand new Toyotas, you can track them down. Let's see. What's the most effective way to track a stolen car before it's crashed? Use another, or used to get chopped up in the chop shop or shipped out to who knows where. The best thing is, I think, that GPS tracker, because as long as you can get that information to law enforcement, you can tell them where the car is in real time. And the last question for Anne-Marie was, in your opinion, what's the best way to keep your car from being stolen without risking your life or the lives of innocent bystanders? In other words, by not booby-trapping your car. What do you think, Rick?
Park next to a nicer car.
Well,
One somebody else is going to want more.
There you go.
all you have to do is put decals on your car saying that it's like fake webcams or security cams. Yeah, unless it's a kid, unless it's just a crazy kid who wants to steal a car.
But a pro.
Professionals always go the easy route.
Right.
And if they see a car that says warning protected by GPS, they're not going to argue or to try to find out if it really is. They just move over to the next car.
Right.
They're going to steal the car they think is unprotected.
Yeah, exactly. So that's there's a whole bunch of stuff, but technology has kind of gotten to the point where it's pretty cool. The other thing we talked about recently on the show was the club, which is just a physical thing that goes on a steering wheel. That's just another deterrent. Yes, they can be beaten, but it takes time.
It's probably the best deterrent.
You look in there.
It's great because it's going to take time to beat, even though it can be done quick. It's more time.
There's a car next to it without it.
Yeah.
That's the one that gets it.
Yeah.
So
it's cheap.
Yeah. It's not as cool as the GPS.
No.
You can't go on your phone and, hey, there's my car.
Yeah, but you don't have to at that point.
Yeah. I have a question from Lee. He says, can you provide some insight into the auto braking system in Toyotas? He says, my 2020 Avalon has that. I learned that when a car suddenly stops in front of me, I didn't understand that. But anyway, the question is, what happened? What he's saying is when the car stops suddenly in front of you, it's going to light up and say, brake, brake, brake.
Yep.
His question is, if he does nothing, what's going to happen? The car will stop. It's going to slam on the brakes.
It'll slam them on hard.
Right. It's not going to feel comfortable. It's scarier than the red light flashing, brake, brake, brake. Because it's happened to me once.
But it doesn't cause any damage to your car or their car.
Right. And also the pedestrian stop, same thing. If it's you're rolling, a pedestrian walks in front of you or behind the car, and you don't see him, the car will stop. It's really hard to hit something in these cars. Lee said, I saw the red warning light came on, and he thinks the brakes were applied, but he doesn't know if they would have brought the car to a stop, and it will bring it to a stop. Same with the laser, like the cruise control and the automatic driving stuff. When you're in those things, it will stop completely when traffic stops in front of you.
The Tesla new software download is if you have a really emergency stop, it hits your emergency brake and your regular brake.
Oh, really? It just locks you down. I wouldn't want to be in that car when that happens.
No,
Okay, we have time for one more?
Well, we do. We have about 4 minutes, and we were going to try to squeeze in, Rick.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay. Rick?
I've got one good one here from Negan One. He says he's got his eye on a 700 horsepower Ram TRX, which is like one of those big race trucks. It was a buyback for having a loose bumper and paint defects with 16,000 miles. He says, Earl, what's your opinion on manufacturer buyback vehicles that have a premium warranty on them?
Well, as long as you know the defect and why it was bought back, it's buyer beware. I mean, they're not going to put, no manufacturer that would like to remain in business is going to put a car on the market knowing that it is dangerous in any way. So, I think that would be could be a good buy if the discount matches the severity of the reason they bought it back. Then I think it could be a great buy.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it's been corrected.
Yeah, it's not going to be a safety issue for sure.
Yeah. And the only other one I see here is, Donovan mentions he went looking at Florida Fine Cars, which is down on Military Trail here. And he says he was looking at a used car that
while Rick's choking,
this one choked me. $3,000 in junk fees.
Wow, we shop them.
They're pretty seedy. They got a nice showroom too. We shop them. Probably ought to shop them again. I think we shopped them a couple times.
They are currently, and I don't know the date in the shop. They have a D on, so they're not recommended. They're on the.
That's CD, D for CD.
Yeah, and that was the old. That's where Saturn started out in that dealership.
Oh, yeah.
That was the old Saturn dealership
I didn't know
originally.
that. I'll be darned.
That's
Boy,
why
you
it was
gotta remember.
surprising when we first shopped them. I was like, "This is." It seemed like to be a pretty like a impressive place, for like a used car lot. Okay, that explains that.
Yeah, 3,000 in junk fees, and just it kind of shook him a little bit there on that one.
Saturn, just a little quick flashback here. Saturn was a better idea than, it would have been a better idea today than it was then. But General Motors had kind of an interesting concept. It was one price. It was sold directly by the manufacturer. So the customer satisfaction was incredibly good.
Yeah, the cars were pretty cool.
The car wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And it was ahead of its time. But it goes to show you if you try to do something too soon. How long was Saturn? 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave all the Saturn franchises, even though they went through dealers, to the same dealer. So if you were in like South Florida, I think Ed Morris had all the Saturns in this market, and then somebody else down in Miami had them. And the price was the price. It was the MSRP, and the cars were good, and they were super customer satisfaction wise. So it's but they tried.
Just a silly story on it. When Saturn was coming out, they had this commercial on TV where a bunch of bikers were running along through the desert, and they come to this little bar hangout, and all these Saturns are parked out front, and the people are like, these little old ladies are getting out of their cars and like, oh, this must be the hangout, and they're all going inside to meet with their Saturn group. When the Saturn dealership opened there on Military Trail, they contacted the Harley Owners Group, and I was riding with them at the time, and we went in, and I was in there early because I went in plain clothes with all camera gear and video to set this up. And when they had this whole group of people come in as their first new owners event, all of a sudden they threw open the glass doors, and we had like 30 Harleys come rolling right through the dealership in the Saturn dealership to fit with their commercial.
Wow.
Oh, it just scared the crap out of all your new owners. But.
Oh, no, they cheered. They loved it. They thought that was fantastic.
Oh, man.
Okay, we have 1 minute to the mystery shopper report. Guys, what do you want to do? Earl?
Okay. Let's read it.
And go to mystery shopping
Let's
report.
do it.
We have the mystery shopping report, as I mentioned earlier, and that is the mystery shop of Sunrise Volkswagen. That's in Fort Pierce, and you can vote on this mystery shop, and you're definitely going to want to. 772-497-6530. Here we go. Let me mention Agent Lightning. You did a fabulous job. Thank you so much. Week in and week out. Earl?
Okay, that's Fort Pierce, Florida. That's South Florida for you folks out of the area. And it's about 60 miles, about 60 miles north of here?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're in North Palm Beach. Kind of set the scene for you. Speaking in the first person, as if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived mid-afternoon and was greeted by a salesman as I walked up to the cars on the lot. Okay if I offer my help today? Yes, I agreed. Mentioned my interest in the new Atlas Cross Sport with tech. What's that word? Tech.
It's the big tech package. It's got all
with
this
the tech package. Okay. Noting that they had several online, he led me to a red one, inquired, what do you think? I love red. You must have read my mind. I laughed. I'll be right back with the keys, he said, and after a brief pause, he turned back, extended his hand, introduced himself. Oh, by the way, my name is Abner. Not many Abners out there, are there?
No, he was 104 years old, and
Little Abner.
Sorry. I don't think anybody in the last couple of centuries has been named.
There was
Abner.
a red 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SE. The Marinoli label was lying on the seat. That's what you get in Florida, folks. They put either they put them in the back seat or on the floor. They don't put them on the window. In fact, this on the window, they take them off, then they put them on the floor.
Maybe because it's so
I don't
hot
know why
and humid,
they do that.
they just fall off. It's just
It could
the
be.
humidity.
They've been there long enough, yeah. I strained to see, look at the Maroney label on the floor, and I could see that the MSRP was $44,876. MSRP, $44,876. There was not an addendum on the window or on the front seat. Abner returned shortly with the keys, and we embarked on a test drive. He was impressively knowledgeable about the Atlas, demonstrating many features until I mentioned, I have an Atlas at home, and I love it. That promised him to showcase the upgraded features, the new features since the Atlas was released that I drove, and that impressed me. So Abner seems like he knows what he's doing. Back at the dealership, he queried, do you like the car? Want to see the pricing? Yes, definitely, I replied. As we walked inside, I was immediately drawn to an old Volkswagen bus converted into a fish tank. I have a picture of that. Clever idea.
I want to pause and just say, because I knew this was going to be a point of interest to you, because a giant fish tank in a showroom, you can relate to that.
Yeah, but all you can see is a little bit of window.
Now, I'm glad when I saw that, because when we first started talking about a fish tank and we were getting proposals, and for folks who are listening, we got this big cylindrical fish tank in our showroom. And it's really cool. It's huge. But we had the people that did Tank, the show, proposed taking a Highlander, one of our SUVs, and filling it up with fish. And it was so much. We said no mainly because the cost compared to a tank. And we said no, but I'm glad we didn't, because it's very hard to see the fish.
Oh, yeah.
They're not. It's not like a big circle tank.
They don't want you to see the fish. They want you to see the Volkswagen, I guess.
I guess.
He prefaced the next part of our conversation with a straightforward admission. Just to be upfront with you, we have a $2,495 market adjustment on all vehicles. So, well, I guess that was the right thing to do.
Well, it's because they didn't have it on the addendum in the car.
Didn't have it. That's right. That's why they should have. They didn't. I couldn't hide my displeasure, but conceded, I'm not thrilled with that, but I'm here, so let's see what you can do. Abner asked if I'd visited before. I don't believe so, I answered. And I mean, that was like a tip-off, you know.
Right.
I mean, she's a professional mystery shopper, and she shops all the time. So he says, have you been in here before? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Because if she were just a normal shopper, she would remember.
Might be. Yeah,
anyway,
been so many you can't remember. It's all blurred
very
now.
mild slip, but I shouldn't be teasing her because she's a great mystery shopper. Okay. As he entered my information in the computer, he detailed the addendum, included a paint and interior protection package, just so standard operating procedure. They would be adding to my price. He said they charge less than their competition. Is this if that excuses it? I mean, they're gouging you less. You know, how about just not gouging? They'd be adding. He then pointed to a laminated addendum from Gunther Volkswagen. I have to chuckle about that because we have laminated addendums from our competition on our showroom floor too. So
it's to show that we don't have an addendum. Not that ours is less.
Ours is we have a giant blown up addendum of one of our local Toyota dealers that we show people when they come in. So they have Gunther Volkswagen. By the way, Gunther sold out. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Just recently?
Fairly recently. Sold out all of his Volkswagen stores. I post this to show our customers what another dealership down south offers price-wise. It added $1,000. This is Gunther. Gunther added $1,995 for Xylon, $495 for Bumperdillo. You gotta love that name, Bumperdillo. And I don't know what it is. I don't care.
Can't say that with a straight face.
Yeah, Bumperdillo.
$995 market adjustment. This totaled $3,485 in junk fees, more than what Abner said his dealership would be adding. After a 15-minute wait, he returned with a sheet and reviewed the figures. Top line was MSRP, $44,876. They added, here we go, $1,397, for the installed packages, the addendum. This is indicated to consist of appearance protection for $399, etch for $2.99 and LoJack for
Here we go.
$6.99. And that goes back to the chuckling Stu and I had earlier about, does it really have LoJack? You'll never know.
Right.
Unless someone steals your car. That's
Right.
the only way you find out.
You find out because you never get your car back.
Next came, here we go, $2,112 in fees, just fees, which were indicated to consist of dock stamps.
Wrong.
That's a lie.
That's
because if you're not financing the car, there's no dock stamps. And dock stamps are paid by the financing institution anyway. $170 e-tag. The dock stamps were $70.80. The e-tag for $399.99. That's obscene.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Because what does a paper tag cost?
Well, no, it's just
A penny?
just for the actual paper. It's about a penny.
E-tag.
No, the actual the printer, the actual thing that prints it in there. It's just a service, so it's a monthly service that we pay to do it in the finance office.
Okay, I was
so it's an
thinking, I thought that
arbitrary. If you broke it up into a
dealer dock fee. There's another junk fee, $1,000, $999.99
and this
to
is
be
the
precise.
this is the only reasonable one.
And a third party agency fee. That's a stupid one.
That's a private tag agency, but they only charge it. That's probably their cost. and the e-tag does that temporary tag in the office and prints it out.
Just a bunch of garbage. A little bit different than normal garbage, but it's all garbage, junk fees.
Yes.
My head is spinning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
and Agent
I
Lightning
had to take my
said
headphones out.
it was a lot to take in. That is a lot to take
It
in.
is.
I need to talk to my husband about this, I said, but I doubt he'll agree with the add-on pricing, indicated I'd be in touch. He urged me to stay so the sales manager could greet me. After another 5 minutes, I tried to leave discreetly, but the
She
sales
tried to
manager
sneak
saw
out.
me sneaking out and enthusiastically but cluelessly suggesting, let me take your picture with your new car. I mean, that's desperate. That's
tone deaf.
That's a trial close. You're trying to run after your experience, but he wants to take a picture
You're
of
taking
you
it
with
right
your
now,
new
aren't you?
car. I would have come up with something obscene at that point. I probably would have said something really nasty. But
Never mind, we're on the radio.
let me take a picture with your new car.
Let me take a picture.
No, thank you. I'm good, I replied, but we spent a few more minutes talking as he annoyingly and persistently tried to convince me to make the purchase then and there. It was classic pressure. Nevertheless, I declined and left. So there you have it. There you have mystery shop of Sunrise Volkswagen
Did
in
you
Fort
put
Pierce,
the
Florida.
Jonathan? Did you put the tank on the
And,
picture?
we need to vote on this, and
That's a
reminding
doozy.
all of our voters that we have the curve,
Yep.
and that we have, if that's, first of all, it's stipulated that all dealers are a little bit, shady. Okay, so if they're just shady, that's a C. If they're a little better than shady, that's a B. If they're a lot better than shady, that's an A. If they're worse, that to an F. So if they're really bad, we give them an F. Then we take them, don't put them on the recommended list.
Yep.
So that's the worst we could do. When you say F, we're just saying this guy is so bad, this dealership is so bad that you'll be able to find a lot of other dealers that will give you the same year, make, model car and not give you the shabby treatment. So Fs should be rare. Even if you get mad at the guy, you remember the purpose of this mystery shopping report, other than entertainment, is to give you a place to go at Earl on Cars. If you want to buy a Chevrolet or a Buick or whatever you decide, see if it's on the recommended list, and then see what the grade is, and then maybe start with the higher grades. But if it's an F, you don't see the dealership at all. So that's the reason we sparingly use Fs.
Okay, you can text your vote at 772-497-6530. Mystery Shop of Sunrise Volkswagen, Fort Pierce. What do we have, guys?
Got a couple. Jonathan Palm Coast. Great report. This dealership deserves nothing less than an F, or nothing more than an F, you should say. The Monroney sticker was not placed properly on the vehicle. No addendum label was posted, but there were addendum junk fees, all designed to increase dealership profit. Grade on a curve if you like, but all dealerships get the grade they earn. Period. And that's an F from Jonathan. Bob gives him an F for sunrise, which should be sundown VW. Sundown VW. That's all I got. I'm not going to be that harsh. I mean, it is a. They broke some rules there, and I'm going to go with a D. I'm going to give him a D. Oh, we got one more coming in with a Z minus. I don't know who that is, but that's pretty clever. Z minus. What's up, Rick?
Okay, I've got Joseph Kelleher with an F. Negan 1, a big fat F. Let's get back to the. Oh, boy, got so many coming in. They're scrolling off the screen here.
Really?
Let's see. We got J Lady 3377. I was just on VDub's website, and Bumperdillo is a metal protection plate that costs $108 from the manufacturer.
Oh my gosh! Thanks, J Lady 3377.
Tim Gilliland says, with apologies to Bill Withers, ain't no sunshine in my life.
And
with the hidden market adjustment and Bumperdillo, etc. D minus. Tom Steckel says, D minus need to be very wealthy with the VW in quotes. That beautiful.
Clever.
To pay these junk fees. Brian Sidlatko, Bumperdillo gets an A for creativity. However, this dealership deserves an F.
Okay.
Mark Smith, I'm going to fail them. F. Johnny Z. Fradley, thousands in junk fees? Guess they have to pay for the fish tank somehow.
That's exactly what
F minus. And Kevin Bryson, I give him a D on the curve.
Okay. I'm glad someone agreed with me. Thanks, Kevin Bryson.
Myself, I'll let him have the D on the curve.
Okay.
Straightforward D.
All right. Miss Nancy. I think you're just ornery because you've had like your leg hurts.
There you go. I'll tell you what, guys. Monroney label, market adjustment. Shall I go on? We don't have enough time. What Mike Maroney is doing, that senator, he's turning over in his grave. So with all of that said, I just gotta give him an F.
Okay.
I knew you would. I knew you would. No, I'm not. It crossed my mind too, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna be in the D campaign. I'm gonna say, I was even thinking about a D minus, but I'm just gonna go with a straight D. I mean, we don't think you should buy a car from Sunrise Volkswagen in Fort Pierce. We don't think you should, but I think they deserve to be on the list, and you'll probably find other Volkswagen dealers that have better grades, and that's where you ought to go. But I hate to, they didn't do anything that got me palpitations. I didn't have any palpitations about that, so we'll put them on there. We got a couple seconds here. This every now and then I get a blog out that after I write it, I say, hey, that's not bad. And this one here is a current blog. It's at Earl on Cars online. You go to Earl on Cars, and it's called "Get It in Writing." I probably could have come up with a better title, but after I wrote it, it occurred to me that not only is it something to save you when you get taken advantage of by a disreputable dealer or just a illegal type guy, it also is a preventative measure, because when you go into purchase a product, in this case a car, and they see that you're just not being totally verbal and you're taking notes. In my case here, I'm recommending emails or text. Telephone conversations are fine, but only if you confirm in writing. So I'm saying try to do everything online. This is what the blog says. Try to do everything online and then confirm your agreements in writing. Read the blog for the detail, but it's worth the read, because if you read it, you probably won't have the need to enforce it, which would mean that's when enforce it if you have to get a lawyer. We talked about this earlier, and this is a encouragement that the popularity of being honest might become a good thing. And as a dealership chain in Minnesota has 8 stores. Apple Stores is the group name. Kind of cool. Apple, good retailer.
Hopefully, his name's Apple.
Yeah, and he's running the campaign. Don't get screwed, and it's catchy. It's funny. It makes you laugh. You like to watch things that make you laugh, and it sends a message out. If you buy the car from this dealer, Apple, he's saying he doesn't take advantage. We got to go.
Yeah, we definitely do. Thanks to everyone who joined us this morning. We appreciate your company. You do make the show. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay tuned next week. We'll be right here, same time, 8 a.m. Don't forget that daylight savings time.